We have 2 questions left, and for the next one, I'm going to need you guys first to pick China or Japan.
I'll try Japan. Why not?
Okay. The question is, which one has the, this is very tricky, but superior, better, or however you want to phrase it, art? Which of the two is
all right? Cool.
Has better art? We don't want to be just talking about wars and depressive stuff. So let's see. I think both have really interesting art that a lot of people might confuse with each other, but enjoy as well. It's extremely distinctive. But which one's better? And on what criteria would you say it's better?
Yeah,
I like Japan
well, this
for
is
this
all
one.
about just winning, just about winning argument, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I think all art is really subjective, but okay. Who wants to start first?
Oh, it's you. So you can just go.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, well, I would say that the interesting thing about Japan is that not just Japan is a very powerful country in absorbing other people's culture and history. It's a island country that's pretty much open to new ideas. And the thing is, if you want to say China's art is great, the thing is, Japan also imports Chinese art into it. So whatever's been created in China, it would also be accepted in Japan. And Japan also absorbs like British literature during the 19th century and so on. They got absorbed British literature, and even right now, today, they are absorbing European. Even if you like manga or stuff like that, they are absorbing European ones. They tell stories about Iran's literature that becomes part of their history. So they also take Arabian. There is also an Arabian superhero in Japan's tokusatsu series. They got all the different things. They are so great at absorbing a lot of different arts. I think China can do a bit more of that nowadays to absorb ideas from another place so that it can also add to their own art. The idea is that not Japan's art is great not just because it is Japan's indigenously created art. It's because they can make other people's art become part of their art scenery, art industry, pretty much.
Great argument. I think this is valid for the entire debate. But Craig, you're gonna have your hands full with so many images and maps throwing them on screen. It would be lovely to see the different examples between you two. But now you have a completely different job, and that's following that great main.
Repeat the question again.
Which of the two has the better art? Convince me that if I want to study one of the two art schools, I'm better off studying the Chinese one.
I'm just going to say it here. I am not an art historian, but I actually know Japanese art quite well. So sadly, I wish I had got the one. What I'll say about China is China was the one that introduced what we would call the great pottery. So what we call, the ancient Greek techniques actually came from China. So China is one of the fundamental ones that started everything. And like he had pointed out, everything that Japan does is just stolen from China. But China is much more isolated than Japan. While Japan looks outside, he's absolutely right on that. They take the very best of the world and they employ it into their own traditions. China's kind of the opposite. They retain and retain and retain, and they always go back to the classics. They always look previous. Well, until recently, modern history, and now it's kind of the opposite. But they romanticize the periods of their history and they gloss over it. The three the Three Kingdoms period, you can find it in everything. Any video game you play, you're gonna have all these characters that have these renowned histories, and there's an atmosphere that comes from this ancient world that's always infused into everything. You watch Asian films from any films from China, let's say Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, it always is reminiscent of these older times, almost like a flavor of magic and otherworldly things. There's an art in the martial arts in China that I think is superior to that than of Japan, which I know people probably kill me for saying that, but I'm sorry to say, martial arts, if you were going to pick the two, I think China is fundamentally the one that really started and had more grounded. Other than that, Japan has manga, of course, and has a lot of woodblock carvings, which were excellent.
Damn.
I was
such a noob. I was like, is a martial art an art? Oh, it's in the name.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Wow. CJ, good luck, bro.
Right. Okay. Well, the idea is that China itself, if you actually pay close attention, a lot of the influences also come from Buddhism, which is from India and also Central Asia. It's what makes it great is because it also absorbs other things. And if you read the Song Dynasty writings by a lot of the officials, they even at the time they say that a lot of these people they are wearing Hu clothing, which means the barbarian or the Northerners, the nomadic clothing. Through time, they are actually absorbing a lot of what's it called influences from all the other countries. It's just that a lot of people who are not very familiar with the history can't see the differences between all the different evolution, different changes. And right now, the thing is, China has stopped in absorbing as much as it used to during the heyday of the Tang Dynasty and the other dynasty and the Yuan dynasties, the Mongol dynasties. Right now, Japan is absorbing all these different arts from around the world and making it their own. Right.
This is such a wholesome debate. I love it. Craig?
I'm going to narrow it down. Something that is exemplified by both countries is poetry. And Japan very much copied China and played within that realm. And they had in the 19th century, they would have diplomats do poetry together, like Li Hongzhang famously did it with Ito Hirobumi. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things as far as the cultures are concerned, and something that they had a brotherly bond with. And I don't think one or the other is better, but they're just unique and different. Whereas Japan was highly emphasized, they literally learned from the Western world and they employed it into their poetry a bit, whereas China tried to retain things from the past more so. And I just think the retaining the ancient part of their culture, they did more than Japan did. I mean, both did, of course, but I think China did so more so, and I think it's pretty beautiful to just retain something that will be lost if not. Because change changes things.
Okay. Man,
Hard one.
why did I choose this question knowing that I have to judge it afterwards? This is the most impossible thing to judge, like classics versus I don't know.
Didn't even talk about calligraphy.
Yeah.
That would have been a big one too.
It's just such a broad subject.
I honestly I'm gonna need some help. Craig, how do you think this went?
I think both of us did really well. I think understand what you're saying really makes sense. There is also value in keeping some of the old traditions alive. And I think need to be combined both with the new and the old. So
I'm biased. Japan, I think is more.
We're gonna leave rating out of this one for now, at least. We'll see how the next one goes and see how difficult it gets from there.